Welcome to the United Stand. I hope you're all doing very, very well. We're going to be talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer priority that isn't Jadon Sancho or a right winger. But just want to say to everyone who's watching live, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late by a few minutes tonight. I think you'll be happy why I'm late. I was just filming up the background for the United Stand chart show, which will be back tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. United Stand chart show. If you don't know what it is, you're going to love it. If you do know what it is, you're going to love it. So that's back tomorrow morning as well. But look, lots to talk about. We've been linked with Guendouzi from Arsenal. It's a legitimate story. We've been linked with Guendouzi from Arsenal. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about Bruno. We'll be talking about the centre defensive midfield. We'll be talking about points to prove. We'll also be talking about Manchester United and how they solve this problem that is Liverpool. But the transfer priority position I want to spend a few minutes talking on about tonight and getting your impact is centre defensive midfield. I think this is the transfer priority if your sentence today is, and look, we could easily sit here and go, oh, we're playing Norwich tomorrow, it's the FA Cup, and then we're going to try and get top four, and I think we are going to try and do those things. I think we will try and do those things. Of course we will. But what I want to say is this: how do we win titles? And I think, and I said it last summer, and I'm going to say it again, Sancho is very important, but the priority position for me is centre defensive midfield. What do we do in that position? A few options. We're going to talk about that. But talk about the king of centre defensive midfielders. I want to show you a little clip here talking about our Roy Keane. What do you think about this?
I used to hate Roy Keane, but now he slags off United. We're all for him. I think he plays up to the bitter ex-hardman role really well. He's always going in on certain players, as we say. I mean, what were you saying with Evra the other day about De Gea? Saying, I'd have saved that, Patrice. It's the middle of the goal. You can get a taxi back home, Patrice. Patrice. And he was like, he's the most overrated goalkeeper I've seen. And
Roy Keane there, link in the video description. Thanks to 888 Sport for helping out us with the videos today. They've got a video up on Roy Keane. The link is in the video description. What's your opinion on Roy Keane? Is he a player... Is he a legend of Manchester United? But is he right, as an ex-legend of Manchester United, to go so passionately, some would say aggressively, in on Manchester United players? Check out the rest of that video. The link's in the video description. Get over there and drop a comment. I've left my comments on there. Suffice to say, I'm a big fan of Roy Keane, but I don't agree with a lot of what he says off the pitch. It's a hard dilemma. So check that video out. Link in the video description and give your thoughts on that. But what feeds in nicely with Roy Keane is that we need a centre defensive midfielder. I've spent a lot of the day today. I don't know whether you watched the video we did in the studio today, me and Flex. If you haven't, check it out on the homepage as well. But we were talking about the Premier League and top four, and we had to talk about Liverpool. I've spent a lot of time over the last 24 hours thinking about giving up on football now. I haven't really. Look, you know, if you can't take defeat, you shouldn't be in the fight. You know, fight, competition, football, whatever. You're going to lose sometimes. And this, look, there's lots of you who've never seen Liverpool win a title in your life. Loads of you've never seen it. You can't remember it, even some of you. I can remember Liverpool winning titles. And I think that what I would say is that Manchester United seriously need to look at how they get into that fight. Because my concern is Liverpool are going to win the title next year and the year after that. I think City are crumbling, and I'm not sure. And I think Liverpool are going to plateau and they're going to stay consistently good. So who's going to challenge Liverpool? And consistency is the word that Ollie always talks about. Have Chelsea got the consistency? I mean, people say this. Chelsea are going to challenge Liverpool next year. They've lost 10 games. They've lost 10 games in the Premier League. Like, to halve that probably still wouldn't win them the league. So I don't think Chelsea are going to win the league next year. I don't think United are going to win the league next year. I don't think City are going to win the league next year. So I think Liverpool are going to win it. So how do Manchester United look at stopping Liverpool? I don't think in football, and Real Madrid and Barcelona and Juventus are very good at this. They might have a bad season. Bayern Munich lost it to Dortmund. They didn't lose it the year after. I think United are stuck in this trap of, oh, it's going to take time. We'll get there in the end. Why does it take time? I'll tell you why it takes time. Because they don't want to spend all their money to get us where they need to be. They want to spend gradually. They'd rather spend 50 million a year over the next 5 years than spend 250 million now and another 100 million, because it's less money. You know, United could go and buy 4 players this summer. We could buy the title next year. You know, we literally are 3 or 4 quality players away from being a title-winning side. We won't do that, because we've got owners who want dividends and shareholders, etc., etc. Some clubs will go and do it. Some clubs will just go and buy the players that they need. We probably will buy Jadon Sancho. But what we need to do, if we want to topple Liverpool or get anywhere near Liverpool, we need a centre defensive midfielder. And I was thinking about this today, and I've come up with some names, and I wanted to get into the conversation because we all know Jadon Sancho's fantastic, and we all know Jadon Sancho's going to be fantastic. But is Jadon Sancho on his own going to make us win the title? What's the most important position in football? Well, it's definitely in the midfield. It's your number 10. Bruno's changed the world at Manchester United because we didn't have a number 10. What's your second most important position? If you've played it or if you've watched it, it's CDM. For years, Carrick, Keane were massively important. You listen to Roy Keane, you listen to Rooney, you listen to Ronaldo. They wax lyrical about Michael Carrick because they'll say he provided the platform for us to just go and perform. And that's what Carrick did do. And Roy Keane definitely did it, and Scholes to a certain extent. Even Giggs was quite good in that area. United need a centre defensive midfielder that's going to be there for the next 5 years. Now, I know Ricky's going, Matic, turn him off, quick. He's not talking about Matic. I know Matic is fantastic at the moment, but how long's Matic going to be fantastic for? Liverpool, Matic might be our player of the season for the next 8 games. Liverpool have already won the league. Is he going to be that player next year? Maybe. Can he do it for 40 games? I don't know. Will he be the game after? No. Matic is going to get worse and worse and worse. We need a centre defensive midfielder to come in and do that job fantastically well, to run the back four, to also dictate the play to the players in front of them. We desperately do need a centre defensive midfielder, and this is why, amongst the glamour of Sancho and the hope of a Grealish, United are linked to centre defensive midfielders. It is a position we're looking at. United want a right winger, an attacking midfielder, and a centre defensive midfielder. Who's the centre defensive midfielder we're looking at? And that's what I want to talk about tonight. Hi, Mark. We've spoken about finding another Roy Keane, but we won't. Different era, and his player aura was his person. We need a CDM that does the traditional well in modern day football, says Drew Hansen. And I hate Keane. I hate Liverpool. I'm fuming today. Deals are being done all over Europe. Sancho should be a done deal. We should be on to the next deal, says Sean Turner. You know what, Sean? I wasn't going to discuss this, but he's actually right. Hakimi is leaving Dortmund on loan. Well, he's already on loan from Real Madrid to Dortmund. Inter Milan are in for Hakimi. Romano was talking about it today. Pjanic has gone to Barcelona. Arta's gone to Juventus. Inter Milan are also looking at a player I think we should be looking at as well. Bayern Munich are making moves. All these clubs, especially Italian clubs, Serie A's been out for longer than we have. Serie A's not got money like the Premier League has. And yet you hear Premier League clubs, we can't afford players, everybody's going to be hurt. And then the Italian clubs that aren't particularly well off anyway and are crippled by financial fair play are out spending money. I mean, Hakimi to Inter Milan. And apparently, it's quite a good thing for United, really. Dortmund can't even afford a €20 million bid for Hakimi. So this is why Inter Milan are in. But I'm amazed that Real Madrid are selling Hakimi for a start. And I'm not saying United should be in for Hakimi. We've got. He's fantastic. Some would say he's better than Wan-Bissaka. He's bloody brilliant. But we've got Wan-Bissaka, so you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go and buy a brilliant player when you've got a brilliant player. You back the one that you've got. So we shouldn't be looking at Hakimi. But I think it also shows that there are deals to be done there. And look, I said it this morning. I'm not going to go down this road again because it hurts. United should be hurt today, and United should be looking at ways to get themselves so that Liverpool don't win a league title again. A cheap option could be Kelvin Phillips at Leeds, says Josh McNabb for the CDM role. And Mark, take that Matic performance, take 5 years of it and add 5 miles an hour of pace. There you go. We are suddenly contenders. Nick P, I think you're right. I think if we had a 27-year-old Matic, I wouldn't be having the conversation I'm having now. But we haven't got a 27-year-old Matic. And I don't think Fred can play CDM. I like Fred. I don't think he can play CDM. Hands up in the air if you think Fred can play CDM. I don't think he can play CDM. I don't think that McTominay can play CDM. I think it's a specialist position. And I think Manchester United need to be looking at players. Now, look, for me, on the thumbnail, you might not know who that player is on the thumbnail. Now, there's a bit of joke in there, but there's definitely a big dose of reality. His name is Sandro Tonali. He plays for Brescia. He's a centre defensive midfielder. He's 20 years of age. He basically sits in front of the back four, playmaking the game. Now, on my FIFA career mode, he's the Italian Roy Keane. This is not why I want to sign him. This is the sort of player that Manchester United may want to consider, but probably won't start looking at. He's perfect. He's absolutely perfect. Will you get him out of Italy? I think it's very hard to get players out of Italy. I think it really is. Whether it's Tonali, Bernardeschi before him, Chiesa, Barella. These are all really good up-and-coming Italian players, but they probably will stay in Serie A. In fact, I think Tonali's going to go to Inter Milan as well. They call him the new Pirlo. Whatever they call him, he's got the attributes to be exactly what Manchester United need. And he's got the age He's of an age where he could come to Manchester United, have a year or two under Matic, and gradually take the role. And I think that's what United need to do. They need to get a player. I don't want us to go and get. We can't get Ndidi. And I think when you're talking about a centre defensive midfielder, to me, I'm passionate about this because it's absolutely essential. It's the position we need. It doesn't matter whether Pogba stays and Bruno's fantastic and Sancho's superb and Martial and Rashford are brilliant. If we haven't got a CDM who is quality, all that quality in front of them becomes redundant. You've got to have a CDM. You can't have somebody who plays at the role. You can't have Fred, who's he's tenacious, but he hasn't got a very good distribution or first touch. You can't have McTominay in there, who really tries really hard and he's very energetic and he can put a tackle in, he can drive. Matt, you know what McTominay is? McTominay's not a centre defensive midfielder. He's even said it himself. He can score goals. He drives with the ball. He's a yardage player. If Scott McTominay was an American footballer, he'd be a player that gets you yards. He gets you first downs. That's what he does. And I don't even know what American football is really, but I know that you get a first down if you get a few yards. McTominay's a progressive player with the ball. A CDM is not a progressive player with the ball. They are a rotator of the ball. The Carricks of this world, the Roy Keane in the latter years. Matic, perfect on Sheffield United. Every now and again he'll carry the ball, but mainly he's there to move the ball quickly and shield his back four. That's what United need. I think Tonali, for me, would be my sort of obscure, that's the player we should be looking at. But there are others. There's Zakaria at Mönchengladbach, but unfortunately he's got a bad knee injury, so we won't be going for him. Samori, people have mentioned Samori, Camavinga, both young players in the French league. Yeah, why not? Declan Rice. Look, I don't particularly rate Declan Rice, but young player, maybe you get him into Manchester United, maybe that potential that many of you talk about is there. Get him to Manchester United, especially if West Ham go down. People say, I hope Villa go down, so we sign Jack Grealish. Well, how's about if West Ham go down? Declan Rice is on the move. So I'm not opposed to Declan Rice coming in. Whether I think he's the right guy for the job, I don't know. I think I've always liked an intelligent centre defensive midfielder, and I think, have I seen enough intelligence from Declan Rice? Maybe I've not watched enough of him. But what Manchester United definitely need, and I'm not here tonight to give you the solution. For me, I think Tonali, but it's not based on watching him play loads and loads and loads. I haven't seen Declan Rice play loads. I haven't seen Samori play loads. I haven't seen Camavinga play loads. I haven't seen Zakaria play loads. I've seen bits of them and I think, yeah, they look decent. But that, to me, is the player that United need to go for. We don't need them to come in and play now, but we do need to bring them in now and get them accustomed to the team. For me, the disappointing one is Bellingham. Because I think with Bellingham, he could have been a player in 2 years' time. He's almost like Fabregas. You can't believe you're playing an 18-year-old in the midfield. He could have been that player. And I think that's why Bellingham's made a mistake, really, because he may think he's going to get more game time at Dortmund, but I think United were looking at him as the heir to the Matic throne. They were looking at that. We need that player. And you can be the modern Fabinho sort of player who's very good on the ball, can score goals, but you run the midfield. Very, very important position. We have a net spend of £437 million in the last 5 years and overpaid on players Di Maria, Sanchez, Schneiderlin. Clearly we need people who know the game of football in charge of transfers, says Alan Thomas. I agree with you on that one, Alan. Drew Hansen, what about Weigl? Good height and good on both feet. I think Weigl's ship has sailed, really. I mean, he was good at Dortmund and now he's at Benfica, isn't he? I don't think he's a player that the top clubs are looking at anymore. Rudy says, Sancho, Tonali and Pogba new signings. Premier League will be ours next year. Come on, United, let's get Liverpool more than a year of celebration. And Sean Turner, Partey has a buyout clause. Woodward clearly can't negotiate, should just go pay his buyout clause. Quick and easy, we need to act fast. The only thing I would say about Partey is he's not a centre defensive midfielder in the sense that you lot think he is. He actually plays box to box a lot. In many ways you could say he's Scott McTominay. He can play CDM, but actually is he not better as box to box? United need a specialist CDM. We need a Michael Carrick. We need a Roy Keane in the latter years. You need a Fabinho, an Ndidi, a Pirlo, Kante, whoever. That's what United need, and they need them there for the years to come. Rashford's here for years to come. So's Martial. So's Bruno. So would Sancho be. So's Wan-Bissaka. We've got a lot of players that are going to be here for 5 years. The centre defensive midfielder needs to be here for 5 years, and at the moment Matic is not going to be here for 5 years. He might be here for 5 years, but he's not going to be the player we need. And I tell you what, as I was sat there thinking today, how do we topple Liverpool? Because that's what we should be thinking. That's what Ollie should be thinking. I know we've got short-term goals, and to be honest with you, top 4 in Champions League is part of that long-term goal. But I'm of that position now where I think we need to fast-track this. I don't think I can accept a 3-year plan anymore to win the title. We can't say it was going to take us 3 years to win the title, and in those 3 years Liverpool win 3 titles. We've got to fast track this plan. Someone's got to get the checkbook out. We've got to try and stop them next year. You know, I think we've been lucky over the last 30 years. Liverpool, our biggest rival, we've laughed at. They've never won the league. They've won the bloody league now. They can win it again. They've broken the duck. They'll go and do it again. They know what it's about. They'll want to do it next year with fans. That's what their motivation will be. They'll be bloody focused next year. Who's stopping Liverpool next year? We've got to stop Liverpool next year. It's going to be very hard, but you can't rely on anybody else. Man City, you can't rely on them. Chelsea, well, if Chelsea are fighting them, why are we not fighting them? So, you know what I'm getting at here? I think it's going to be very hard to stop Liverpool next year, but I think we've got to do it. Because if you're counting on City, if you're counting on Chelsea, well, why can't we? Why can't we? We're Chelsea. You know, we're in the same sort of level of Chelsea. Why can't we do it? So I think if I'm Manchester United, I'm like, yeah, we need Sancho and we need a centre defence. I think centre defensive midfielder is more important than getting a Grealish or a Van der Beek. I think a centre defensive midfielder is really important. Maybe Van der Beek could do it, you know. Maybe Van der Beek could become a specialist centre defensive midfielder because he is tenacious and he's good on the ball. Maybe Van der Beek would be the signing. You know, I don't have all the answers. Nathan Ake could be a bargain if Bournemouth go on relegation, says Marcy. I think as a centre-back he could be, you're right. Aaron Rice, hi Mark, do you think we'd have an outside chance of getting Kante? Hearing talk of Kante being out of place now in Chelsea's midfield. Well, he played yesterday. I don't think we'd get Kante. McTominay could be our... Plus, Kante's not going to play for us for 5 years, is he? I think we've got to look at the next Kante if that's available. Nick P. McTominay could be our modern-day Owen Hargreaves without the injury problems. I really think we're 2 players away from a challenge. CM and CD. Right, RW as well, Nick P. Let's not forget the RW. I mean, look, the L'Equipe or Quip, whatever you want to call it, French outlet, very big. They're saying that United are looking at a £40 million deal for Guendouzi from Arsenal. Now, Arsenal would snap that money off us because he's crap. But also, he's only got 2 years left on his contract. Now, look, I've always quite liked Guendouzi. I've always thought Guendouzi was quite good. And he is a player that you could play in that centre defensive midfield position. So, I don't think we should sign him. I don't think we will sign him. But I've seen something in him. And is his development just not like... I mean, could you not say of Guendouzi... I mean, look, he's not going to come to United anyway. Let me just say that. But what I'm saying is, if we did get hold of him, would it be the worst deal in the world? Because he's young, he's Premier League experienced, he's got the attributes to be the player that we need in that CDM role. And is it not fair to say that, look at Martial and Rashford under Mourinho, crap, but we knew they were good. Maybe in a different surrounding he would be good. I don't want to sign Guendouzi, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying... I do think we need to go for somebody who's a CDM, who's aged between sort of 18 and 22. That next year they shadow Matic and then they start to take Matic's place. That's what United need to do. Because if Matic gets injured, we're screwed. You know, if Matic gets injured, you're basically saying to Pogba, we need you to play CDM. And that totally stunts what Pogba's all about. Pogba's our best CDM after Matic, and he isn't really a CDM. So... that's the thing. Matic can't play every game, and I don't think we've got anybody who can do it. Hi, Mark. Thanks for all the videos throughout lockdown. And Didi Rice and Tonali would all cost an absolute fortune. I think Conrad Lamar from Leipzig could be a great Matic replacement for half the price. Great recruitment. And fantastic comment from Stephen Campbell, 89. Thanks for that. Look, I don't have all this. This is what I mean. I don't have the answers of all the CDMs out there. There's a CDM out there who's playing in Belgium. There's a CDM in France. There's one in Italy. There's one in Germany that we're not even talking about. They are out there. This is what good scouting does. But what I would say is, and Florentino Luis or Tonali, mate, they're top class, says Archie. And Mark, you're looking sexy today. Guendouzi is a no, says Supe Stars. Thanks. I'm proud of you not looking sexy. I think he's taking a piss. It seems like Ollie likes a Premier League player. Go and get Ruben Neves and Adama Traore for the price of Sancho. You've got the complete squad, says Ollie Chadwick. Zayn Miasi, if Klopp keeps winning, Liverpool will replace you as the biggest club in England. Well, that's probably the most sensible thing you've ever said. Soccer legends from the Theatre of Dreams. Liverpool winning the league is the hardest thing to digest. We're having good run lately, but next season we have to be consistent. We have to fill the holes by bringing right wing, CDM, centre-back and backups on the bench. Fair points. As fans have been able to identify feasible options to our weak points, yet the people in charge at our club seem incompetent to a malicious extent. Strong words from CRCL 20. Charles Crane says, I think United should look at Conrad Lamont. I've done that one. Personally, I thought Messi would be a great option for right wing. Thoughts, says Liz Hardy. And Mark, you can have Guendouzi as you nick our Bahayas, but we are getting Partey and Zaha, so we will be fine. Well, I hope you do sign Zaha, and I hope you spend about 70 million on him, because we'll get 15 million anyway, because we get 15%. But no, third super chat, Ruben Neves, says John G. I think what that comment there, that United are maliciously trying to stop United being successful, the owners, I don't agree with that. I think they don't want to spend the money to get us where we need to be. But I think that if we were owned by football people, you would see, if we were Juventus or Real Madrid or whoever, and their biggest rival had just won the league, they would go on a mad one this summer. That's what would happen. It's my biggest, sorrow. It's my biggest sorrow that Manchester United are run by people who run us for money. And that, I'm not going down the Glazers out argument. I've got no energy for that. But what I'm saying is, we are one of the richest clubs in the world. We have got one of the biggest fan bases in the world. We are one of the best clubs in the world. And if Liverpool win the title like that, most clubs' reaction would be, I ain't having that. That's a bloody disgrace. The journey starts today. What do you need, Ollie? CDM, centre midfielder, right winger. Right, we're going to get you the best we can get, because they do not win the league next year. And that's what a big club would do. But unfortunately, even if Woodward knocks on the door and says, this is what we want, they go, well, you're having that much, do what you can with it. Well, that's not even enough to get that. Well, it's not my problem. I've got dividends. That's the problem United have. And some would say, well, that's a bit harsh on the Glazers. Some would say you're absolutely spot on, but it's true. Most clubs' reaction would be to go on the warpath this summer, to have a plan, a counter-attack plan to win the battle. And I just feel that Ollie will have to do it with one arm behind his back. I don't think he will get everything he wants this summer. And I think he knows that. I think any manager pretty much knows they're not going to get what they want. But at Manchester United, he really should be getting what he needs. And I think it's a very big summer ahead. There is definitely progress. I don't think the pressure's ever going to drop from United now. And I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would expect it to. But there is no patience anymore, because I think we all loved the goals from Martial. We loved the performance on Wednesday night, and we can all see the progress. But suddenly that progress has become very urgent, because we can't have another season where we watch Liverpool, our biggest rivals, run away with it and go, fair play, they've got the best manager. I'll do it once. They've got the best manager, they've got the best team, and they totally deserve it. Well done. I ain't doing it next year. Once is a blip. Twice is a consistency. And why are we feeding a consistency? So, no, next season, we cannot be there going, they've got the best players, they're this, that, and the other. We've got to get in on them. We've got to get there. And that's the great challenge for Manchester United, because I said it today when I was in the studio with Flex. I'm sure some of you have seen it. I think we'll get top 4. I let my tongue slip and I said I'm 100% sure we'll get top 4, so I've got to live by that now. But I think we will get top 4. And to get top 4, we're going to have to win probably 7 games in a row, on top of what our 13-game unbeaten run is now, so a 20-game unbeaten run. I think we'll win the Europa League as well, and I don't think that will be easy. And then I think we'll go into next season, and then we're going to have to keep winning every week. For United to win the league is going to be very, very hard. Liverpool have got all of August off. They're not in the Champions League, so they're going to be refreshed and raring to go in September. For United, we could be playing a Europa League final. We could be playing football all the way through till the end of August, 2 weeks off, and we go again. Very, very difficult, but we can't write the league off. We can't. We've got to go into next season and win every game. What would I want at the moment? What would my dream situation be at the start of next season? Pogba signed a long-term contract. Sancho's wearing the number 7 of Manchester United, and we've brought in a centre defensive midfielder of real quality. That would be my dream. I mean, and if we get a Grealish or a Van der Beek as well, yabba dabba do. But that's my dream. And is it too much to ask to get a player who's already at the club to commit to sign Jadon Sancho, that we're heavily linked to and we know we want, to sign a centre defensive midfielder? Really, that's the only extra thing. I think we need to do it. And also, just on Tonali, Brescia will sell him for about 30 million quid. Maybe even less, because he's only got a year left on his contract. Tonali is absolutely perfect. But will you get him out of Italy? Will we even look to get him out of Italy? I don't think we're even looking at him. We had Keane and Carrick, both great defensively and proficient passers. That's what we need, but they are very hard to find players of that calibre, says John Joe Evans. I don't think they are hard. When Leicester got Kante, when Leicester get Ndidi, where are they getting them from? You know, they're not in Leicester's youth team. That I think United need to scout better. And look, we are bringing in a lot of, you know, what I really am hoping as well is, I mean, we let a lot of young players go yesterday, but that's just the circle of life in football. We've been buying a lot of young players, and I'm hoping that in the next 2 years, we're going to start to see some of these talents coming through. We've already got Greenwood coming through. Hopefully, we're going to see it with some other ones as well. A CDM and a right winger to be top 4 next season, says Omar Marquet. We need to sign early and get to work. May United do us a favour and bless us fans during this horrible year. Also, keep up the great work on the United stand. Stay safe, says Omar. Thank you very much. And will you pay Alexis Sanchez wages to Pogba for him to stay, Mark, says Ajmal. I want Pogba to stay because, you know, maybe I'm falling into the yo-yo trap here. If Pogba comes out and says he wants to go, I know what I'll do. I'll say, get out, you ungrateful sod. But I would love him to sign a new contract. He's a quality player. And if he signs a new contract, we're going to get his prime years. But Riola's the problem, isn't it? And Pogba to a certain extent. I rate Tonali high, but I only see him at Inter, says Charles. Yeah, me too. I don't see him going anywhere else. In 2009, Madrid acted to Barcelona winning the league with Ronaldo, Kaká, Benzema, Alonso and 6 other players. This is what we need to do now, says Sean Turner. You're right. You're absolutely right. But look, I mean, look, we're playing Norwich tomorrow. We've got a match tomorrow, and I think the, you know, we've had a blow really, a double blow. That's what she said. No, we have, because we played well against Sheffield United, and there was some momentum there, and I think we expected to be 5 points off, 2 points off 4th this morning, and Liverpool wouldn't have won the league yet. We expected Man City to beat Chelsea, and they didn't. And not only are we having to digest Liverpool winning their first title for 30 years and ask bigger questions about where United are, we're also having to digest the fact that Chelsea have moved further ahead of us and we're 5 points off 4th and 6 points off 3rd. So we've had a bit of a knockback, even though we had a great result on Wednesday. And we are where we are because of the bad results we've had this season. But I still think that we've got to get our chins up. It's a test for these players. You know, I think that if they... What I would be saying is that if I was Solskjaer, I'd be saying to my players, look, if it hurts you that Liverpool have won the league, good. If it doesn't hurt you, get out. You know, I would say that. But there will be some players in the United squad who aren't hurt by it. That's just the modern footballer. But Ollie will be hurting. Carrick will be hurting. Phelan will be hurting. They're United through and through. So what I would say to my players is, look, Rome wasn't built in a day, but we need to build Rome quickly. We need to get Empire United back on top of English football. I'll tell you where it starts, lads. I need top 4 football. Top 4. We need Champions League football next year. We need it. That's where we need to be. We need to be on the top table of European football. We need Champions League football. Do you know how you're going to get it, me? You're going to win the next 7 games. And if you win those next 7 games, why can't you go and win the title next year? If you can't, you know, because if you win 7 games, you've won 8 in a row. You're 20 games unbeaten. It's these steps, these next 7 games for United might seem very insignificant when Liverpool are holding up the Premier League title. But if we go and win these 7 games in a row, we will get top 4. And that'll be fantastic. But what we'll also be able to look back on is we've won 7 games in a row. 8 games in a row, actually, because we've already beaten Sheffield United. And then that is a platform to build on. There's still so many questions. We're still on very thin ice. We could have our lowest ever points total in the Premier League. Will Solskjaer still keep playing decent football, or will he revert to a back 5 against Leicester? You know, there are a lot of questions there. But I feel that ice is getting stronger. And I feel that United are making strides. The next 3 or 4 weeks are massive in the future of this club and how far we can go. Because I'll tell you what, for anybody who wants Solskjaer to fail, or anybody who thinks Solskjaer's not good enough, if he's not good enough, by the time we find somebody good enough and they've got things going the way they want to, Liverpool could have 3 titles. Solskjaer, in many ways, is our only hope of stopping Liverpool overtaking our titles record. So, because by the time we've sacked him and brought somebody else in, and rebuilt again, Liverpool will just be we'll have another one. We'll have another one. We'll have another one. I'm sorry, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You're our only hope against Liverpool, and I hope you're up to the task. Thomas Partey signed a new contract and release clause is gone, says Ben Castle. I don't know whether he has. I've not heard anything about it, Ben, but that would be funny if it has. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. What else did I want to talk about? I've done Hakimi. We've done centre defensive midfielder. We've done Guendouzi. Let's have a look at some of your comments. I mean, look, with the weekend ahead, obviously we've got the watch along tomorrow against Norwich. I mean, I'm just looking forward to that game. I mean, I wish it was... I want to get on with the Premier League. I'm very... Brighton's the game. Tuesday's not far away. That's the game I'm looking forward to, Brighton. And also, of course, if Wolves are playing tomorrow lunchtime, if they win, we drop down to 6th. So, you know, we're getting a lot. I think United at the moment, unfairly or not, we're getting a few punches thrown, aren't we? Even though we've done really well against Sheffield United. We've had a massive double punch yesterday. Wolves could throw another punch tomorrow. But we've got to stay on our feet. We've got to keep fighting. We've got to stay in the ring. And, you know, tomorrow night, I hope he rests a few players. And I hope we beat Norwich. But ultimately, it's all about the Premier League, isn't it? It really is. Hannibal Mebry is a fantastic player coming through. TG Gaming. Dylan Hugwaf, isn't it? He looks good. There's lots of players in the youth setup who could step forward. And I hope that they do. Garner's one at CDM, says Nicholas Clark. Yep, he needs to go on loan next season. I mean, look, if Garner goes on loan next season to someone like Millwall, sits in their midfield for 35 games, why is he not better than Bellingham? And he's the same age as Greenwood as well. You know, Garner could be in a couple of years the best centre defensive midfielder in the league. Now, obviously, I'm not going to put any betting on that, but he could be. Or he could be another box-to-box midfielder. You see, you mentioned midfielders. This is the most important thing, and this is why I've called the show Solskjaer's transfer priority, is we need a specialist CDM. Matic has always been a specialist CDM. That's what we need. We need a specialist CDM. And that's what we need. Dennis Zakaria for CDM, says Ben Hodgson. He has got a bad injury at the moment. Bad injury at the moment, so I don't think United would be going anywhere near him. The chart show is more or less recorded. I've just got to edit it, so it will be going up tomorrow morning. I won't be giving you any spoilers about who number 1 is, apart from to say it's not Phil Jones. But you can see the chart show tomorrow morning. I think it's going to go up at 10 o'clock, so watch out for that. And then we'll be live with the watch along tomorrow. 4:30 we'll be live, because Team News comes in at 4:30 because it's kick-off at 5:30. So looking forward to that. And I think I'll probably be doing a Wolves watch along on Mark Goldbridge's That's Football at 12:30. But if you want to join me for that. But look, thanks everybody for watching. Smash a like on the video. Check out the video in the link in the description about Roy Keane. Get involved in the debate. I've left my comments in there about that. And also, if you didn't see, we were back in the studio today. Me and Flex, back in the United Stand studio. It's not quite how we want it. We didn't have as long time. It's the first time we've been in there for 3 months. It was a socially distant show in the studio that's not really set up properly because we haven't had time. But it's still quite a good show it's a very good show. It's our Premier League show that we do as a weekly thing, talking about top 4 and Liverpool a little bit more. The content of the show is really good. It's on the homepage. It's got the light blue thing on it, light blue thumbnail. Give it a watch. Thanks for watching, and make sure you. I want you all to sleep well tonight. I know you're going to be very excited about the chart show in the morning, but Sean from Ireland says, Mark, if Ollie gets your dream summer transfer window and next year gets about 80 points in a Champions League quarter-final, would he keep his job? I want more than that, Sean from Ireland, to be honest with you. And Garner's a box-to-box centre midfielder, 100%. We need a ball winner, Pete Squire. And that's what I was trying to say about Garner. I don't think he'll become a CDM, and that's what we need. Yes, chart show back tomorrow. If you've never seen it, you'll enjoy it. If you have seen it, just think top of the pops, top 10, but not with songs, with United players. It works. It's my concept, and it works. I don't always get good ideas, but this is a very good idea. The top 10 changes every week based on performances, and it works like that. I think number 1 last week, just for those who don't remember, number 1 before lockdown was Luke Shaw. Number 2 was Matic, number 3 was Wan-Bissaka, number 4 was Fernandes, and number 5 was Fred. Agallo was 6, Maguire was 7, Martial was 8, Dan James was 9, and McTominay was 10. But of course, at that time, Rashford, Pogba, they were injured, Greenwood wasn't playing. So smash the like on video, subscribe if you're new, check out the chart show tomorrow. Make sure you check out the Premier League show. If you haven't seen our studio, homepage, the thumbnail with the light blue. And I'll see you in the morning for the chart show. Can't wait. Speak to you in a bit.